Fans, I'm Marcus Pierre.
And I'm David Joseph.
And this is the No Holds Barred podcast. Our mission statement is to provide reviews and our opinions on sports, entertainment, and professional wrestling as a whole. Now, on today's show, we have the honor of presenting to you our guest for today. We have a film director, we have a television productions teacher, as well as a visionary on camera and off camera, and an active person in the community right now to guide the children and the youth in our community today. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Noube Rateau.
Wow, it's quite an honor, guys, to be on this show. I really appreciate you guys reaching out. I'm really an honor that you guys took the time to reach out to me, and I'm glad to be here.
Appreciate having you, Noube. I'm sure we're gonna get a lot from you. We're gonna get a lot of knowledge from you at the end of this episode. I'm psyched.
And we thank you for being here too.
Absolutely.
So our first question, I have to say, I know that you were part of the BonzeLens Film Festival. Mm-hmm. So how did you become a part of that, and how was it like?
Well, it was an honor, actually. We're heading out there in 3 weeks. We got the official selection about 2.5 weeks ago. So what we do, there's different film festivals around the country. So we look at, which ones would really, be good for us in terms of our marketing. Atlanta, we've never done a film, showed our film down south, so that's a market that we want to cover. So we said, let's go to Atlanta. It's a prominent black film festival. So we applied amongst thousands of selections of films. They decided, we're one of the 20 films selected. I think it was like 5 documentaries selected. So it was an honor. So we're going to go down there in a few weeks. And, we'll see what happens. Ultimately, we want to go down there to win. Our goal is not to, we want to make connections, but we also want to, show, represent for Brockton, for Massachusetts, that, there's some filmmakers out here, people in the media who are doing really good things and ultimately showing positive stories of people in the community for the rest of the country to see. So we're going down there. It's going to be shown August 26th, and then the award shows the 27th. So, I'm hoping and praying we can bring some hardware back to Massachusetts.
I'm sure
Absolutely.
we will.
Bring the hardware to Brockton specifically.
Yeah, Brockton. It's funny. When everyone asks me where I come from, I don't say Boston, I say Brockton.
Got to.
They say, where's Brockton? I said, look it up.
Got to be proud of where you're from.
You got to. Got to represent.
Absolutely.
We got some rising stars in this city, whether people realize it or not. My next question for you, Noube, is I know you're a Bridgewater State alumni. I currently go there myself, comm student. Baby. And I would like to ask you, as a fellow, graduate of comm, I haven't graduated yet, but you have. What type of tools and knowledge do you feel you picked up as a student at BSU that helps you right now when it comes to film directing?
Yeah, that's a good question. I went to Curry for 2 years and transferred to Bridgewater State. Then transferred over to Bridgewater State, and I said Bridgewater State was the best decision of my life.
I say the same thing. My freshman year, I was at Eastern Nazarene, and then ever since I was at BSU, so it's a little similar. Yeah,
it's a good environment, and honestly, I in terms of when you take your different classes and communications and everything, everyone's going to get the same education more or less. But when what separates you to go to the next level is those connections that you meet in school, that you meet outside the classroom. And I thought Bridgewater did a good job with that with me, particularly, I was in a lot of clubs, African American Society and everything, so I started doing a lot of work for them. And Bridgewater was good in terms of supporting me in terms of, my little film projects and so forth. And quite frankly, that's what kind of got me started, because that gave me the confidence. I was doing this video work just because, it was something I did. It was a talent that I had, and I was like, let's just do it. I was more of a sports person. Then more and more people started respecting the work that I did. It gave me a lot more confidence. Maybe this is something that there's a talent here, and work with a lot of different people in Bridgewater. Work with my co-director William Madero. Met Hakeem Hill over there. Met a lot of good, talented people at their school. So the college, like I said, everyone, the classes are cool. You learn, you got core set of standards you got to learn, but to go to the next level, you got to make those connections outside the classroom. You got to make them outside the classroom.
So true.
You got to go to the next level, because when you're in the classroom, you look around, your classroom is your competition. Your classroom is your competition. So how do you separate yourself from the person next to you? Now, granted, you got to work with them, and make sure that everyone's working together. But at the end of the day, you got to look out for number one. You got to separate yourself. So it's what you do outside the classroom, outside the college, that'll make you go to the next level. The one thing I figured.
That is great
insight.
Knowledge and advice right there. You definitely enlightened me with that. And you know, what you said about networking, I definitely feel like that's important too, but it seems like you definitely networked, you know, when you made Out of Bounds. So I want to know, like, how did you come up with that movie and the dynamic of it, and, you know, how did you feel about it?
Well, Out of Bounds, it was something we're passionate about. You know, I'm a big sports guy, like you guys are.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
huge sports.
yeah.
So, you know, I've always wanted to do a sports documentary. Myself, William Madera, co-producer and co-director, was a big sports person. We saw a lot of athletes who went to Brockton High were supposed to be the next big thing, then fell off the face of the map for one reason or another. And, you know, we've seen that, you know, we don't think this is just a Brockton problem. We say, you know, this might be an inner city problem. So worked with Mario Lamar, who had a lot of connections in terms of local basketball players in terms of that. So we say, you know, we want to really focus on this story. But, like, you know, this is cool. We've done multiple documentaries. We haven't been able to, I think, really expand on a national level that we want to. And I was talking to someone I met in New York. We actually went to a festival in California the year before. He happened to live in New York. And he said, Noube, you know, you could do these documentaries and so forth, but you have to have national names, okay, and local stories. So you have to be able to get some people with name recognition for people around the country could recognize what you're doing, but also, you know, localize it with stories. So we made it a focus of this documentary to get some real national names to reflect on local issues. So we got Jackie McMullen from ESPN Around the Horn. We got Stephen A. Smith. We got Scoop Jackson. We got Dana Barrows.
That's amazing.
You know, we really, you know, try to give a now. You know, we didn't have them tell their stories, but we wanted to have their perspective. So when people immediately see the film, wow, Stephen A. Smith, that's interesting. You know, let's hear about the kid from Brockton. So that's kind of our concept for the documentary. We wanted to really make this document on a national level, and that's what it really puts forth in trying to get some different names on the film.
Nice. And speaking, that segues perfectly into my next question. I saw the trailer for the Out of Bounds film, and it looks like a great theme. It looks like it's well put together. By the way, when you met Stephen A. Smith, how did that go together? What was that process like when you met these guys?
You know, it's funny. I'm never starstruck by anybody, honestly.
Me neither.
Wow. Everyone's kind of just a human being to me.
Yeah.
Stephen A. Smith, I was starstruck, and I was nervous.
Yeah.
First time I was.
As an aspiring broadcast journalist, I probably would be too.
You know, so like, you know, he came in. I'll tell you a story. Before we interviewed him, it was April of last year, 2015, and was it April? Yeah, it might have been April or so. Anywho, that same day. We're in Bristol, Connecticut, where ESPN was.
Yeah.
That same day, that's when Aaron Hernandez was charged.
Oh, I see.
With first-degree murder. So it was a crazy day. So he was already busy, already tied up. We're supposed to meet him at ESPN. He said, "Meet me at my hotel." So we met him at the hotel boardroom, set up the equipment. So right when he walked in, he was ready to rush. Walked in, no real joking around, just all about his business. Now, granted, you know, just taking the time to do it and, you know, do the interview was nice enough for him, but he wasn't necessarily like a real nice person, you know, but I appreciate him taking the time to do it.
Yeah.
And I can understand how busy he was. So we interviewed him for about 12 minutes, and we used literally probably 11 minutes and 59 seconds of the interview, because when the lights were on, the guy was magic. I mean, he was just electric, you know, he entertaining.
He's so great in front of a camera.
You know, and then when we turned the camera off, like, all right, cool, is that it? Bounced, you know, and left. So, you know, that was the first time I was really nervous doing an interview. But I mean, I hope he didn't notice it. But at the end of the day, he came off on camera fantastic, and I really thought he made the documentary.
That is wow.
Praise.
That's awesome.
And I believe every word.
That. Wow, I'm pretty sure that's something you can take with you in life and just tell other people, you know. And I know something that you've developed in life is, you know, your movie, The Culture. So how exactly did you come up with that?
Right. So The Culture, and you know, the documentaries are in different stages, and you know, we've done, I think 5 documentaries. Maybe I've done even more, but The Culture was probably our most important documentary because that got us credibility to raise money for Out of Bounds. Mm-hmm. So, you know, we're just building and building. Out of Bounds, you know, if we ever get distribution from this one, you know, I think our fundraising will be a lot easier for our next film. But so the question of The Culture, that was about guns. It's about guns in the inner city. But We focus on different areas in the suburban culture, how they saw guns and so forth, which is very relevant now, honestly, with all the stuff going on with the police brutality situation.
It's terrible.
And the violence in the black community. So we really focus on it was guns, but it was really on the culture of guns, and the gun is the final aspect of where someone gets to. So we focus on the culture. That's what we called it. We call it the culture about what's going on in our society where we feel like we need a gun to solve a problem. So that was enlightening because I saw both perspectives. We got the conservative perspective about how people feel like you need a gun to protect yourself, which I respect, and you got the people who say, what, when you have a gun, it takes away from the ability to think reasonably and think about how do you problem solve, because you have the issue right there.
Yeah, and they're just gonna figure I got a problem, let me solve it.
Yeah.
Right.
Develop a dependency on the gun, right?
Yeah. So we touched on that. We were able to win. We won the Henry Hampton Award at the Roxbury Film Festival with that documentary.
Awesome.
We won an award over in California, but I think it never got to the next levels because we didn't have I don't think we had the name recognition that we needed to have in the film. Which is nothing against the people in the film. The people in the film are great. They're amazing, and that film helped us propel us to raise money for Out of Bounds.
Okay. All right. And we're running out of time in this part one of this, so this last question is going to be a little brief. Do you have a favorite movie of all time, and what is it?
Oh man, great question. Favorite movie of all time has got to be. Man, that's tough.
I'm sure it is. There's a lot of movies.
I'm gonna choose two. I'm gonna choose one. Straight Outta Compton is one of my favorites.
Oh, okay.
That's just, and that just came out. Was it 2
That's
years ago?
very recent,
last year?
Yeah.
And then Training Day.
Okay.
Training Day, Denzel Washington. Dude's a beast.
All right, Dude's a beast. If you think any of us are a beast, feel free to subscribe on our YouTube page at No Holds Barred. Don't forget to like our Facebook page at No Holds Barred Podcast. And remember, we'll hold your attention.